Today, at the dawn of a new day, 1 in 5 live on less than $1 a day. Where clean water is scarce, where healthcare is limited, where even one meal is hard to find, a brighter future can seem an impossible dream. But we can make a difference to the things that matter. Today, I will make a difference. Today, I will nurture them. Today, I will transform them. In their every day, every song, every life, every dream, and every seed of hope. For them, their children, and their children's children. A brighter tomorrow awaits. Through the power of our commitment, today we will make a difference.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. I am Nabella. On behalf of the entire campus community, welcome to Penang Inter-University Science Malaysia. USM is also known as University in the Garden, with its beautiful and scenic campus setting. We take pride in creating an environment that would bring about the feel-good factor to the campus community as indicated by the increased happiness index. Established in 1969, USM became a research university in 2006-2007 and has been awarded the APEX status in 2008. USM is also recognized by UNESCO as the preferred university for community engagement. USM views the harmonious integration between the arts and the sciences as an innate strength. This is what we have for you in store this afternoon. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good morning to everyone. Welcome to USM Virtual 3 Minute Thesis Competition 2021. I'm Ana Masara binti Ahmad Mokhtar from the School of Industrial Technology, USM, And together with my two gorgeous colleagues here, we have Norin Suliani binti Mat Nayan and also Siti Balkis binti Zulfiqar. We will be the MC for today's competitions. Okay, I assume some of you are familiar with this competition as USM has hosted the same program in previous years. Now we are in our 6th years. But interestingly, for this year, it's quite different as this is the first time USM has hosted it virtually and live through IPS YouTube and USM Admission Facebook. Even the format for today's competition is a bit different from the previous years. So before we get the ball rolling, please allow me to explain about my CST point. To all USM students, please don't forget to claim your My CST point for this program. We will provide the link in the chat box at the end of this competition. So everyone, please stay with us until the end of this program. Now, without further delay, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Azlan Abdul Aziz, the Dean of the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, to give his welcoming remarks. Everyone, please welcome Professor Dr. Azlan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished deans, directors and deputy dean, USM staff, supervisors, lecturers and judges, students, and our outstanding contestant of 3 minutes thesis competition. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the University Science Malaysia 3 minutes thesis competition 2021, which is an annual event organized by the Institute of Postgraduate Studies USM and supported by the Malaysian Council of Postgraduate Deans. Thank you for availing yourself to attend to be a part of this momentous event today via online platform. Ladies and gentlemen, the USM 3 minutes thesis competition is a significant event to us as it brings together our outstanding doctoral research students across different disciplines to explain their research within 3 minutes to a general audience. The competition also celebrates the discoveries made by our doctoral research students as they explore various scientific solutions to multifarious national and global problems such as climate change, food security, mental illness, and corruptions, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, to the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, the competition is most important as it promotes skill development in science communication by encouraging students to consolidate their ideas and crystallize their research discoveries to engage a non-specialist audience. The competition also provides a bridge between scientific literature as a professional medium of scientific research and the realms of reality as experienced in the society. Ladies and gentlemen, so here we are for the USM 3 minutes thesis competition to witness our great doctoral students to share their ideas and scientific findings to solve national and global problems in 3 minutes. This year, we have 31 contestants across 3 major categories, namely science and technology, social science, and engineering. To all 3MT contestants, I would like to wish you all the best. Please make a full use of your 3 minutes and amaze us with your research ideas and solutions. May the spirit of scientific inquiries, cross-disciplinary research and culture, and appreciation remain through this USM 3 minutes thesis competition. Thank you.
Thank you to Professor Dr. Azlan for the encouraging speech. Well, everyone, I know all of you can't wait to cheer for your school representative, but before that, let me briefly introduce about 3-minute thesis competitions, or known as 3MT. So 3MT is a research communication competition founded by the University of Queensland, Australia in 2008. So this program challenged PhD students to present a compelling oration on their thesis topic and its significance in just 3 minutes. Although it's a short time, but for those who understand well enough about their research topic, they will be able to talk about their research in this short time. So for this year, we have 31 contenders, and all of them are PhD students from various schools in USM. So these 31 contenders are further divided into 3 main categories, which are engineering, social sciences, and science and technology. All participants have submitted their 3 minutes videos to IPS, and their videos will be evaluated by 3 respective judges. The first panel and also the chief jury is Professor Dr. Fauziah Ahmad from the School of Civil Engineering. Then we have Professor Dr. Jamila Ahmad from the School of Communication. And the last one is Dr. Nur Azalia Kamaruzaman from National Poison Center. Okay, now I assume you have a brief idea about this program and also the judges. But how about the house rules? It's the same as previous years, but since we are now conducting the competition online, some of the rules have been amended. So for this year, the rules are: first, the presentation is limited only to 3-minute maximums, and presentation exceeding this 3 minutes will be disqualified. Secondly, the presentation is to be spoken only in words. No poems, no raps, and also no song. Thirdly, the 3 minutes starts as the student comments, either via their movement or also speech. And lastly, it is the same for all competition, where the judges' decisions are finals, so no negotiation. Next, I will pass to my colleague Balkis to explain about the People Choice Award and the process for lucky draw. We hope you will pay attention to this, as you are the main judges for this People Choice Award, and inshallah, you don't know, you might get lucky by winning the lucky draw. Okay, Balkis, the floor is now yours.
Well, thank you, Anna, for the great introduction. Well, good news, everyone. Audience joining us today can vote for their favorite participant via the People's Choice Award. And the selected participant will have the chance to win this award. Now, please take note, everyone. This is how the voting process will be carried out. Voting period will be open for 5 minutes after the last participants complete the presentation. Well, vote can be made via the given link in the Facebook comment box or YouTube comment box. Participant with the highest vote will be considered as the winner. A quick reminder, though, that our decision here is final. Well, besides that, good news for audience joining us today, you may also participate in our lucky draw. Here's how you can join our lucky draw. Well, please stay with us and be alert of the keywords that are given by us. And once we had announced the keywords, quickly type in the keywords in the comment box in the Facebook live streaming or the YouTube live page. Well, please take note that the deadline for the winners to claim the prizes is by 23rd of November 2021 only. And unredeemable prizes will be forfeited and the decision is final. Prizes are to be redeemed in Malaysia only. We will provide information regarding how you can actually redeem your prizes later on the screen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us now begin our competition, University Science Malaysia Virtual 3 Minutes Competition 2021, with our first category of engineering domain. I will pass the session to my lovely colleague Noreen, and with this first category, over to you, Noreen.
Thank you, Balkis. So let's start our competition for today. There are 5 contestants coming from the engineering schools. The first one is from the School of Chemical Engineering. Please welcome Mr. Ahmad Fuzami bin Muhammad Abdul Fattah with his presentation entitled Solid Oxide Fuel Cell as Next Generation of Clean Energy Source.
Hi, do you desire to live in a clean environment? Can you imagine that you'll be able to breathe in the fresh air and drinking water straight from the rain? It surely be nice to live in such tantalizing environment. However, it is hard to achieve that vision nowadays due to the rapid development in major cities. Thousands of processing factories and transportation release abundant carbon footprint into the atmosphere, causing the global warming. It became worse from day to day as we investigate the southern hemisphere, where the iceberg melting rate has turned, causing the sea level to be increased. Despite saying this, I don't resent the development occurred in this world. Instead, I adore the rapid development of technology that kept increasing year by year. Discussing on the topic of rapid development in technology, do you heard people nowadays kept talking about hydrogen-based energy? Yes, I know about that too, since my topic research today related to that. Do you know that hydrogen-based energy was being applied in the several countries such as Japan and Germany in this recent year? There was even an electric car that was derived from hydrogen energy driving in the Japan city recently. But what is hydrogen-based energy? Simply said, most hydrogen-based energy apply hydrogen and oxygen as a fuel, which is considered as an abundant resource in this earth. But wait, let's look on the bigger picture. Imagine if we can commercialize a battery cell that derives from hydrogen-based energy. Think of empowering a city with a power plant derived from hydrogen. Yes, it is possible, as this is the main topic of my research. By applying a solid oxide fuel cell, we can generate the electricity on par with coal power plant. Solid oxide fuel cell, or in short, SOFC, is a fuel cell that consists of cathode, electrolyte, and anode. The best part of SOFC is it is used oxygen and hydrogen as a fuel and produce water as a result, with a device efficiency that achieves almost 65 to 70%, it was categorized as a clean energy and capable to empower a small city. With expectation that the fossil fuel may be depleted in the next decade, we may apply the SOFC as the next generation of fuel energy as it is clean, renewable, and environmental friendly.
Thank you, Mr. Fuzami, for the enlightening talk. Global warming has been a serious threat and is extensively discussed for many, many years. I hope that Mr. Fuzami's research, which is related to the hydrogen-based energy, is successful so that it can be applied and commercialized for us to benefit from. Now, let's call upon Mr. Izzat Ikhwan bin Abdul Jalil from the School of Chemical Engineering with his presentation entitled Water Purification is Weaving Nanofibers the Solution.
Hey guys, remember doing this while you were young, having fun in a local watering hole or the river? Why don't we do this anymore? Is it because of PCs and phones, or is it because of water quality? I have to admit, when I was young, I used to have fun at those places. I remember the water being clean-ish. But nowadays, all I can see are brown river water, or if you're lucky, green or blue. Why is it like that though? I think it's because of the increase in human population and the use of dye. More people means more things to color. Your clothes, your car, even your curtains. These industries will have their own state-of-the-art water treatment plant that they use, but still some of these dyes still gets leaked out into the river. Why is that though? It's because a good treatment plant requires money and access. And so, if there's a problem, some of the dye might leak out from these plants and contaminate the river. What kind of treatment that these plants use? For one, they will use the filtration system. A filtration system utilizes a membrane to treat this wastewater. These membranes are good at its job, don't get me wrong, but it's a hassle to maintain actually. What are membranes, by the way? Membranes is like a sheet with small holes in it that can undergo reverse osmosis or ultrafiltration to treat the wastewater, like those water dispensers you have in your office. So what am I trying to do? I am creating a sheet as well, but it's composed of nano-sized fibers. How small are these nanofibers, you say? You have to use a high-powered microscope to actually see it because it has small as a bacteria, 100 nanometers in size, and these nanofibers will have adsorbents on it that will react with the dye and remove it from the water. For example, you have a dyed wastewater here and you have a sheet here. The dyed wastewater will pass through this sheet and the dye will get stuck to the nanofiber sheet, while the clean wastewater just pass through normally. How do I make this nanofiber, you say? I utilize the electrospinning technology. It utilizes electricity and electromagnetic field to convert a polymer solution into a nanofiber sheet in hours, like a spider weaving its web. These nanofibers will have the ability to remove at least 95% of the dye wastewater. So, just like a spider weaving its web to find food and shelter, I'll be weaving my nanofiber to treat the wastewater. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Izzat, for a very interesting talk. It is great to know that the nanofiber membranes that you are working on can be used to trap the dyes and further treat the wastewater. I wish you all the best, Mr. Izzat. Coming up next is Mr. Alsham Mahir Talib Abdul Zahra, representing the School of Chemical Engineering, with his presentation entitled Graphene-Based Photocatalyst for Carbon Dioxide Photoreduction to Solar Fuels.
One of the fact that living in this world with greenhouse gases emissions is challenging. Unfortunately, these emissions get further and further away from the reality. But we are human and we have great access on carbon dioxide and methane in our daily life activities that continue to terrorize our planet. Different consequences on these emissions on the environment, from much rise in temperature and increase in rainfall. So how to keep our planet away from these emissions is a major and is a tall order, as all of us know. Recently, one of the promising approach, artificial photosynthesis approach, that mimics the natural photosynthesis has been researched. In natural photosynthesis, the plants are using chlorophyll and harvesting the solar visible light to convert carbon dioxide and water vapor to glucose and oxygen. In artificial photosynthesis, we are fabricating nanocomposite materials as a photocatalyst to harvest the UV and visible light to convert CO2 and methane to hydrocarbon fuels or solar fuels. In my thesis work, I am solving one of the drawbacks of the artificial photosynthesis process, which is the lower yield. Because large amount of the graphene photocatalyst based nanocomposite can be an efficient photocatalyst to convert these gases to solar fuel. However, the graphene itself as a production needs to maximize in order to have large amount of cheap graphene to cooperate it with other semiconductors to have large amount of photocatalyst nanocomposite. So I focused on how to exfoliate the graphene and to obtain it from precursors as a cheap precursors, naturally available, to convert it to graphene sheets and be incorporated with other semiconductors to convert CO2 to solar fuels. So we produce the graphene large amount and incorporate it with different semiconductors, and we select the abundant and cheap semiconductor that can be a promising approach to maximize the production of nanocomposite and then to increase and industrialize the capacity of the artificial photosynthesis process to convert these greenhouse gases emissions to solar fuels. So by scale up the production of graphene and incorporating the large amount of produced graphene with efficient photocatalyst or nanocomposite materials, we can save the environment and we can help our global to keep away from these emissions.
Thank you, Mr. Alsham, for a very mind-blowing talk. It is refreshing to learn something new here, the artificial photosynthesis by using graphene-based photocatalysts that can be used to mimic the natural photosynthesis, and the use of nanocomposites as photocatalysts to convert carbon dioxide and methane to hydrocarbon and solar fuels. Good luck, Mr. Alsham. Moving on, please welcome our next contestant from the School of Chemical Engineering, Mr. Danny Hartanto Jarom, with his presentation entitled Using Machine Learning Model to Mitigate Risk of Silent Killer PM 2.5.
Seven million people died each year because of air pollution. Now, to put that in perspective, that is more than the whole population of Singapore. The main pollutants that's causing this is called PM 2.5. It stands for particulate matter 2.5. And as its name suggests, it's a particle in the air that has a size of less than 2.5 microns. Now, how small is 2.5 microns? Well, what you could do is pluck a strand of your hair, and PM 2.5 is 50 times smaller than the hair that you're holding right now. So it's really small, it's virtually invincible to human eyes, and it can easily enter our lungs, into our bloodstream, and cause damages in our organs. It can cause heart diseases, respiratory infection, respiratory cancer, and many more. And eventually it will lead to death. Now, PM 2.5 comes from many types of sources. It can come from cars, motorcycles, factory, power generators, or even simple activities like cooking or smoking cigarettes. Those generate PM 2.5. Now, WHO, the World Health Organization, states that 95% of the people in the world still breathe in high level of PM 2.5. One of the main reasons why is because people are simply unaware of the level of PM 2.5 in their area. And why is that? Well, a single monitoring station, it could cost at least $250,000. And as you can imagine, not a lot of people in a lot of places have access to that. So in our research, what we're trying to do is instead of using those expensive equipment to monitor PM 2.5, we use information that we already have, like temperature, humidity, pressure, wind speed, wind direction, to predict PM 2.5. And matter of fact, with our most recent model, which is a neural network model based on MLP algorithms, we could achieve an accuracy of at least 80%. What that means is 8 out of 10 times we could predict PM 2.5 accurately. And our goal is to integrate our model with cloud server so that we can make this forecast available to the general public. And we're not talking about one specific place. We're talking about any places that already have this simple weather informations, so that more people in more places could have access to the PM 2.5 forecast. And we can alert them when the level goes too high so that they could, take precautionary action. Our hope is with this, we can help reduce the number of casualties caused by PM 2.5. Now, this is a small step in a very big problem, but every small step counts.
Thank you, Mr. Danny. Wow, such an impressive talk. I think many are not aware of these harmful PM 2.5 particles and how little it can be to human health. I am blown away to learn that by using the neural network model that Mr. Danny and his research group are working on, the current weather forecast information that we already have can be used to detect PM 2.5 accurately. I wish you all the best, Mr. Danny, in your research. Now, our final contestant for the engineering category is Mr. Omar Ali from the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. The title of his talk is Optimizing Battery Consumption to Increase Device Lifetime.
Hello everyone. We live in a digital world that needs energy to fuel our day-to-day tasks, from the most mundane to the most important and critical ones. The number one question is, what powers our digital need? We know the batteries have been around for decades now. The focus is now shifted towards how much energy is left in the batteries, and more precisely, how much longer can we run our devices on these batteries. We experience this phenomena from our smartphones to laptops, all the mobile devices, all the way to electric vehicles. All of us keep an eye on the battery percentage of these devices. Not only we need bigger and smaller batteries, we also need to find ways to accurately assess the remaining energy in the batteries so that we can fine-tune our products in order to make them run longer. Imagine waking up to a world without batteries, or even worse, without functional battery gauges. This is why energy diagnosis and prognosis has become one of the most studied areas in electrical engineering. I started working on IoT devices for sensing and to build smart applications. And as you know, IoT devices are battery powered. And I couldn't escape the nemesis of gauging the batteries on my devices. This steered my research into a completely new domain where I started focusing on battery characterization for real-world IoT applications. I spent months testing different batteries, simulating different environments and different operating conditions to mimic the real-world patterns around me. This was so rewarding as I ended up getting almost 500,000 data points from my research. And I used this extensive data set to develop smart machine learning models that could accurately estimate the remaining battery energy. Now, this information was very important because I used this information to design energy-aware algorithms that helped to increase the life of my devices. Finally, because I had this information handy, the smart algorithms helped me to enhance the lifetime of my devices by 27 days. An added month's lifetime is merely a beginning, but in mission-critical applications where IoT devices are normally deployed, every second helps. Imagine your favorite Marvel hero who runs on batteries. Now with my research, they have an added month to do good and save the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omar, for such a very intriguing talk. I can't agree more that batteries play such important roles in our life, and we certainly do not want our devices to go kaput, especially during important occasions. I believe that Mr. Omar's research is promising and can further contribute to develop a system to detect the remaining battery energy. All the best, Mr. Omar. Okay, I can feel that the heat in this room is getting higher and higher. Before we move on to the next category, we will have the first session of Lucky Draw. There will be 3 winners for this session. Key in this keyword and stand a chance to win the prizes. Are you ready, guys? Okay. So the keyword, excuse me, the keyword is USM is great. I repeat, USM is great. Okay? Did you get that? Right, for your information, I heard that the lucky draw winners for this session are going to receive vouchers from Grab. You can use these vouchers for your Grab car, Grab taxi, and even your Grab food. I think there are loads and loads of food selection that you can order from GrabFood. It would be great for you, especially students, to use these vouchers to get your food. How nice. Okay, while waiting for the Secretariat to collect the names, okay, the fastest one. So don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, Institute of Postgraduate Studies USM, as well as our Facebook, USM Admission. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, let's see if we already have the names. Who will be the lucky ones for today? Okay. Okay, we are getting the names now. Right, the first one is Ana Safa. Okay, Ana Safa. Right. The second winner for our lucky draw, the first session is Hui Hui. Hui Hui. Right? Okay, then last name, let's see who won the final prize for this lucky draw. Right, Nasrul Haq Tagiling. Nasrul Haq Tagiling. Right, okay, congratulations to all the winners, and don't forget to redeem your prizes. Kindly refer to the screen for the redemption process. Right, so let's move on to the next category, and I will pass over to Anna.
Thank you, Noreen, for the great session. Now we will start the second category, which is social sciences. So just a gentle reminder, please stay with us throughout this category to win some lucky draw. So for this category, we have 10 contenders. The first contender is Ms. Asmawati Rosli from the School of Educational Studies. She will present her research entitled The Flipped Classroom Mobile Module. So without further ado, everyone, please welcome Ms. Asmawati.
Flipped classroom is a pedagogical concept that replaces classroom learning with the off-the-classroom learning through the process of exploring and reviewing materials through video clips and readings. On one-to-one teaching time is transformed into a student-centered learning environment where students are encouraged to actively participate in activities such as knowledge building, creative discussion, and problem solving. You must be wondering, what is Mobile? Mobile is a motion visual laboratory. Is the one of the most exciting innovation in the age of information. Over the past decade, the rapid growth of the motion visual laboratory has brought a fundamental change in the computing system, economics, entertainment, and education necessarily. The development of a motion visual laboratory module is expected to have a positive impact, especially in the field of the learning speed and acceleration topic. Flipped classroom approach integrated in learning mobile module and students learn through flipped classroom process. Many studies show the flipped classroom approach enhancing student learning and conceptual knowledge. Meanwhile, you know that students are facing problems in understanding in concept of a speed and acceleration topic. Educators are started to adopt flipped classroom to teach. However, they are facing some difficulties such as how many lesson activities out there. Which one should I choose? I could choose my own activities in my module, but how? Oh, I am not skilled enough. There are some concern on the educator's mind. Well, my research will help addressing this concern as I'm going to design a joyful, effective, supportive, beneficial and innovative mobile module, which developed based on design and development research approach where teachers' needs and aspect real point are taken into account in developing the module. This module could guide teachers in developing their educational assignment in digital or non-digital to teach speed and acceleration topic and help students to master the concept effectively. The objective of my study is to identify the needs of developing the module, the design and development of module, and the effectiveness of module to students in Malaysia context. The outcome of my research can help educators in preparing themselves to new teaching and learning paradigm, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, and the same time, and this module can be generalized to other subject matters such as physics, and educators can use to develop their own activities other than mathematics. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Asmawati. That's very interesting topic. I believe that through your research, we can improve the current modules and also adapt the proposed module in the future. In my opinion, this will not only improve Malaysian student learning ability, but also encourage them to enjoy the process of learning itself. Next, let's welcome Ms. Christina Ong from the School of Humanities to share her research about nativize, make light verb construction in Malaysian English. Everyone, let's hear from her.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christina Ong, and the title of my presentation is Nativize, Make Light Verb Constructions in Malaysian English. First of all, what is light verb constructions? It is a combination of a semantically empty verb, for example, make, with an isomorphic noun, for example, call. So this construction has been deemed problematic to most non-native users of English because it is interchangeable with its simplex form. Going back to the example just now, make a call. So we can say, I make a call to my friend. So this is a sentence containing make light verb construction. While its simplex form will be, I call my friends. Hence, I'm interested to look at the structure, the LVC structure that Malaysians prefer. How did I conduct my research? I created a corpus of Malaysian English using threads from Laureate Forum, a popular online forum in Malaysia, while the British National Corpus was used as the benchmark, a reference corpus. Using the sketch engine, 5 most frequently occurring make light verb constructions were identified, and they are make report, make choice, make comparison, make decision, and make payment. MEL 2017 theoretical construct of LVC structural pattern, which sees the acceptance of all possible LVC structure, was adopted. The log likelihood test was used to evaluate the difference between each structural pattern in these two varieties of English. So the greater the value of log likelihood, the bigger the difference. The structural analysis revealed that Malaysians tend to overuse non-isomorphic nouns, which are payment, decision, and comparison. Malaysians also tend to overuse zero-article LVCs as well as those taking descriptive adjective. So the nativized LVC in this study are defined as those where the log likelihood values are more than 100. This is the case for 3 out of 5 light verb constructions, which are make report, make decision, and make payment. This could be due to the absence of article in Malaysian substrate languages, namely Malay, Chinese, and Tamil. Transfer from the Malay language was even more evident in one specific light verb construction, which is make a police report, where in Malay, buat laporan polis. This coincides with Schneider's 2003 concept of nativization, where frequently co-occurring words will lead to the emergence of local collocations, ultimately the birth of fixed expression. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Christina. That's true indeed that most Malaysian are used to light verb construction. It will be great to know why they prefer these linguistic features and how we can improve our English so it will be in par with other native speakers. Next, please welcome Ms. Christina Cabrejas Artola from the School of Social Sciences to present her work on a practical approach to peace building, Eastern Harmony. Ms. Christina, please, the floor is now yours.
In the studies of peace, there are three officially recognized approaches to peace. That is, peacemaking, peace building, and peacekeeping. Peacemaking refers to conflict resolution or conflict transformation that ends violence, extreme violence, and wars through peace agreements. Peacekeeping is associated with the balance of power of the actors that are involved in the conflict. And peace building refers to the interactions of those relations in order to avoid the tensions that eventually lead to direct or indirect violence. And so it is in peace building where we question the structures of peace. We see that the liberalist structures tend to deal with more international relations, whereas the less liberalist structures, the Marxist structures, tend to deal with international relations. In either case, it is the inhuman conditions of elitism, isolation, that I refer with the principles of equality and symbiosis of relations, and even entropy, entropy being a measure of disorder, and often used as a tool to measure peace. Yet, my thesis is concerned with the studies of peace building, but through the lenses of harmony. And harmony has been a relatively neglected concept, especially in Western philosophy, when even the philosophers, the Greek ancient philosophers of Plato, Pythagoras, and Heraclitus, advocated for the numerous and pragmatic dimensions that harmony has to offer. But it was in China where the philosophy of harmony was developed, and already in the 6th century BC, Yang Yin, a Chinese philosopher, a politician, an older contemporary of Confucius, explained harmony as a dynamic process that brings different qualities together in order to bring a new and balanced order. And so the aim of my thesis is to include a new concept in peace building, that is Eastern harmony, and to prove that harmony is the path to peace.
Thank you, Ms. Christina, for the inspiring talk. Yes, I can't agree more that peace is the way of life, and by including harmony into the picture, it will help to strengthen the peace and makes everyone happy. So we will now proceed with Ms. Haryati Ibrahim from the School of Educational Studies to share her research on CEFR-aligned course cascading, a study on content knowledge transfer and the teacher's cognition among secondary English teachers in Malaysia. Everyone, please welcome Ms. Haryati.
When I was young, I used to play the broken telephone game with my brothers. It was fun at that moment, thinking about how funny the latest information was conveyed, broken, distorted, and sometimes misinterpreted. But I laughed. It used to be an enjoyable moment because, of course, we did it for fun. How about now? At this very moment, when I pass to you a very important message about A, but end up it reaches to the receiver of the message with Z. It happens, but the scariest problem is that it happens to our educational system, of where the syllabus and the examination SOP were not clearly conveyed and fully grasped by the teachers. My thesis is focusing on the content knowledge transfer conveyed by the master trainers to the teachers in the English CFR syllabus course cascading. In my case, I'm looking what are the factors that hamper the mastery of the content knowledge of the teachers and how it affects their performance in teaching. I mean, this is the new syllabus that we are talking about, where the debut of everything, you name it, syllabus, material, assessment, are being delivered and performed in the classroom. I believe that we cannot afford to lose any good impressions at the very first few years, right? My major theoretical underpinning that calls to my study are the teacher's cognition proposed by Borg and the cascade model theory by Hayes. These two theories dig on how the teacher's experience, views and beliefs affect their performance in any professional development program to one aspect, and what are the criteria in the course cascading needed to be fulfilled by the teachers in order to fully grasp the content of the course. I managed to observe the English CFR course cascading in order to look at how the master trainers, who are the teachers themselves, deliver the content and received by the other teachers through several tiers of courses. In-depth interviews also took place from the teachers in order to get their honest insight regarding the courses. From that, I managed to encapsulate and understand the obstacles, challenges and flaws that impede the mastery of the content by the teachers. Worry not, from the findings of the research that I have studied, despite of internal and external challenges and difficulties that the teachers are facing, content A, which was transferred from the very beginning of the first year's course, managed to be received not so far to Z. Suffice to say, it is around E to G. In a layman approximation of percentage, I would say that the content are only diluted around 30%. Nevertheless, I'm hoping that with my suggestions upon researching on this subject, it will be able to diminish the gap, and 100% of the content served in the course will be mastered excellently by the teachers. No more broken telephones.
Thank you, Ms. Haryati. I also frequently played the broken telephone when I was young. It was really fun, and the game itself highlighted the importance of consistent communication among the players. It's good to include this idea in Malaysia's education system so people will know the effort made by teachers in Malaysia, especially to ensure consistent knowledge transfer to students. We will continue with the fifth speaker, Ms. Lo Yi Hui from the School of Management. She will share her research entitled, "Does Board Diversity Contribute to the Relationship Between Integrated Reporting Disclosure and Firm Performance? Evidence from Malaysia." Ms. Lo Yi Hui, you may start now.
Do you think that board diversity contributes to the integrated reporting disclosures and firm performance? Before we discuss on the findings, first of all, we need to understand what is integrated reporting. Integrated reporting is the most recent trend in corporate reporting. It provides a clear and concise information by matching the organization's strategy, resource allocation, governance, performance, and outlook in the context of its external environment, in creating the value of company over the short, medium, and long term. It also targets to enhance the information quality that is available to the providers of financial capital. In this study, both gender diversity and board age diversity are used. Malaysian Code on Corporate Governance indicates that an effective board should have sufficient diversity, such as diversity in age and gender, to prevent the groupthink in decision-making process. Why the participation of female directors is important? First, it is because female directors show greater determination in supervision. Second, female directors apply leadership style more confidently compared to male directors, such that their commitment toward the trust development needs to have more information exchange and lower information asymmetry. Due to the characteristics possessed by the female, the presence of female directors on board can improve the information disclosures and firm performance. Next, we also need to consider why board age diversity is important. When both of directors consist of old and young directors, it can improve the effectiveness of board discussion as they will share their diverse knowledge. Younger directors are more innovative and they will produce more innovative ideas that can be converted into business strategies. At the same time, older directors, they are more mature and confident in making business strategies. When directors are getting mature, they will increase their generational behavior. Thus, they might be more sensitive to society and more willing to contribute to its welfare. In addition, younger directors may be more sensitive to environmental and ethical issues. Thus, it implies that directors from different age groups will show different characteristics, which can help to increase the information disclosures that can satisfy the stakeholders' needs. In conclusion, both age diversity and both gender diversity are important in a company because they can contribute to the information disclosures and firm performance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lo Yi Hui. I don't know about everyone, but I do agree with her that board diversity will greatly influence the decision making and also company performance. Well, it's good to look from different angles and also hear from various peoples that have different backgrounds and also thinking. Next, let us welcome Mr. Noor Azmi Ramli from the School of Management to present his research about corruption among government purchasing officers, probing into their characters. Mr. Noor Azmi, please, the floor is now yours.
Al-Ghazali, a 12th century philosopher, theologian, and Sufi, once said, "Our behaviors are driven by our characters inside us." Today, I want to talk about my research, which looks into human governance and Al-Ghazali's spiritual anatomy to explain inner self at work in influencing the decision to uphold integrity or commit corruption. Corruption is a silent enemy, slowly undermining the very society we live in. My research is to find out characters of government purchasing officers who are corrupt in behavior and to relate that with the spiritual dimensions of human as shown. The inner self, which resides within human body, is spiritual in nature. It controls human body through 6 powers: sensory, impulse, intellect, appetite, anger, and will. The interactions between intellect, appetite, and anger generates characters, either good or immoral. Corruptions happen when intellect becomes submissive to appetite and anger, resulting in immoral characters. My research findings suggest the characters of corrupt government purchasing officers are craftiness and deceitfulness, driving their behavior on how to get money. They exhibit characters of extravagance to enjoy and to support luxurious lifestyle. They're shameless in character to ask for corruption money, but hypocrite in character to showcase a good front of caring and generosity by giving money to others. Their lavishness in character to simply spend money obtained from corruption. However, there are those who do not want to be seen living a life so lavishly. As they are careful, people would know their mistakes. The novelty of this research is its focus on spiritual dimensions of human. It is imperative to have awareness of spiritual existence inside us to trigger human governance. This is a self-control mechanism whereby intellect takes control over appetite and anger, resulting in good characters and manifest behavior of integrity to counteract temptations of corruption. With corruption, the country will go downhill in its economy with increase in living costs, reduce in purchasing power, increase in government debt, and worse still, reduce business appetite for foreign investors. Is this the world we want our children to live in?
Thank you, Mr. Noor Azmi. This is a very sensitive topic in Malaysia, but we never get tired of it. It's good to know what is the characteristic of corrupted officers and importantly, what money can do to us. But as you mentioned before, this can be overcome by understanding the significance of spiritual existence as a self-control mechanism to trigger human governance. Okay, we will now invite our next presenter, Ms. Noor Izzat Izzati Abdul Rahim from the School of Humanities to share her research about the representation of modern-day slavery in IF, or interaction fiction. Ms. Noor Izzat, you may start now.
20 years ago, it could never have been imagined that the video game play on PS2 would become research material today. Maybe some of the members are thinking that, it's not English, what has the teacher got to do with games? This thesis is a study of more than games because globally, gaming has been recognized as an e-sport, and it has also become a part of contemporary literature known as e-literature. Video game has been played by millions of people, turning them into one of the most popular activities on this planet. This research regards video games as interactive fiction, or IF, a new genre in e-literature. It uses a comparative research framework analyzing two video games with the support of conceptual framework with two theories. Similar to studying a novel, it explores a recurring theme in literature, slavery. The immersive pleasure people get from playing video games is analyzed too. With the research material at hand, this research will answer two major questions. First, why is slavery predominantly thematized in IF works? Second, how do players reach the immersive pleasure when they complete the game? The idea to this research began when the researcher noticed the recurring theme of slavery in video games such as Assassin's Creed and Slave Master. Some are even developed for the school syllabi like Mission US or Playing History 2. And the thrill of adventure is not the reason for this. Slavery games most commonly present themselves as action promising because they have violence and brutality. However, they can be educational too. Look at the ones suited for teaching history. Other than being an engaging theme in video games, it is a harrowing, illuminating look at the realities of the life of a slave. Thus, slavery has become less a subject of humanity, more a subject of pleasure. Slavery has encompassed contemporary society. Video games take us to places that are known or unknown. They allow us to track on different identities and see what it's like to live life as another person. It is a new kind of narrative voice in the 21st century. Players do not look at printed text anymore. They play video games and become immersed in them and the world that is presented to them. Other than the fact that we can own human beings as property in the make-believe world, players can also play, kill, punish, and exploit the slave whichever way that they want to, because of the graphic and freedom that they have within the world of virtual reality. This is a kind of adventure that normally players cannot live out in the real-life situation. This research challenges the appalling notion of modern-day slavery in video games. It analyzes the fact that, like written works, video games are another platform for players to learn about slavery and gauge directions. Imagine video games as a book with visual and movement, like the magical newspaper in Harry Potter, or the magical board game in Jumanji. IF can be exciting in the hands of great literary writers and game developers whose subject matters are various and athletic and can become international hit. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Noor Izzat Izzati. Yes, I can't agree more that games nowadays introduce slavery as a subject of pleasure than humanities. People tend to engage or immerse more in the make-believe world or in the virtual world instead of in the reality. And sometimes, players may also confuse and influenced by the behavior they own in their virtual world. Next, we will proceed with Mr. Prabhu, son of Daimudu, from the School of Social Sciences. He will be presenting about the student dropout crisis in Malaysia during pandemic COVID-19. Everyone, let's hear from him.
Dear friends and lecturers, do you know in Malaysia, we having this one issue that we're facing for more than half decades? Yes, we're facing the student dropout issues for more than half decades. Which means we're having these issues ever since Independence Day. Statistics of Ministry of Education, which is drawn through Laporan Murad 1972, shows that there is 50%, more than 50% cases reported during that period. And we are thankful for our Ministry of Education since they have successfully bring down this rate until 0.1% that time. Yes, they are finally declared compulsory education in Malaysia education system. compulsory education means every child or student in Malaysia have to obtain their formal education in school until primary 6. Later on, it is reconstructed again based on the needs until Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia or O-level in international term. However, last 2 years, after our country being hit by pandemic COVID-19, globally, we facing this dropout crisis in our country. Malaysia is increasing tremendously. Yes, for primary student, the data was shown until 1.3%, and for secondary student, we are shown that 0.9%. This data is the latest that I got from Ministry of Education on March 2021. This means when we numberize it, it shows that thousands of students is drop out and it is daily basis. So my fellow friends and Malaysian, let's think again all the consequences that we might meet from these dropout issues that is happening in our country on daily basis. On most of the thing is from the economic and the social part. From the economic part, we might lose all the investment from foreign countries for the education that they've been made for our country all the days. And on the social part, we will see a more juvenile and criminal activities being increasing from day to day since there are a lot of dropout students. So, my beloved nation, let's start to think and take an action, a step to prevent and save all the students, as this student is our future Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prabhu, for the interesting talk. This is a very serious issue nowadays, as many people are affected by COVID-19. I highly agree with Mr. Prabhu that everyone is needed to prevent this issue from becoming worse. It is not a one-man responsibility, but require a whole neighborhood to make it work. Next, let's welcome our second last presenter, Ms. Zhang Lu, from the School of Communication, to present her work about time, memory, and gender, the representation of Chinese women in film. Everyone, please welcome Ms. Zhang Lu.
In 2015, director Jia Zhangke made the woman film Mountains May Depart. In this work, the director considers the relationship between film and time from a philosophical perspective, using past, present, and future to outline the growth of the female character and present contemporary Chinese women's survival features. Because of that film, I started thinking about the relationships between women's films and women's growth, and what is the real relationship between Chinese women's growth and time and memory. In fact, since 1949, Chinese women have been given equal social status with men from a state policy perspective. And until the reform and opening up in 1978, women's growth had a foreign policy dependency. In the 1980s, women became more independent in their life and their thinking. But meanwhile, the collective concept of country and family has formed a stable cultural identity and influenced the Chinese women's growth. It is different from Western women. 1990s to the present, Western feminism theory, especially patriarchal gender, ended women's study field in China. Chinese women began to perceive their survival development from subjectivity and gradually formed a contradictory situation with traditional culture in different life space. In recent years, especially after 2010, Chinese women's films are a vital genre and have present diverse characters about contemporary Chinese women. Furthermore, these characters have created a profound effect on Chinese women's growth. So, how are the films reproduced? Are the reproduced characters inherited and exaggerated in the survival characters of Chinese women? What is the real relationships between these characters and patriarchal? In the end, we found that firstly, the formation, combination, and growth of Chinese women's subjectivity are closely related to the ideological constructor of the Chinese government. Meanwhile, it has a historical inheritance. However, it is also a dynamic process and of continuous development. On the other hand, Chinese women's films try to reshape contemporary Chinese women's maturity, especially in gender.
Thank you, Ms. Zhang Lu. I agree that as a woman living in the current world, we are becoming more significant in society. We have been given the same privilege as a man, especially in creating our own life and also develop our own thinking. Okay, now we have reached our last presenter, Mr. Ali Mehelo from the School of Communication. He will share his research about the moral values impact on media message and the receiver behavior. Everyone, let's hear from him.
In life, everyone has specific goals and lifestyle, seeking happiness and well-being. There is no problem with that. The problem is what if those goals and lifestyles lead to the destructions of ourselves and our planets. Nowadays, scientists declare that most human beings' lifestyles are not sustainable. These unsustainable and irresponsible lifestyles are causing many serious problems and damage on three different aspects: environment, economy, and society. Some of these problems include environmental degradation, climate change, biodiversity and infrastructure damage, air, water, and land pollution, in addition to health problems and diseases such as asthma, cholera, and typhoid. In short, unsustainable lifestyles are an antipode to sustainable lifestyles. Sustainable lifestyles are characterized by more sustainable behaviors as depicted at the bottom of the slide, like public transport usage, car sharing, walking, cycling, recycling, water, and energy saving. In contrast, unsustainable lifestyles are characterized by unsustainable behavior like those illustrated at the top of the slide, such as the excessive use of polluting mode of transport and non-renewable energy, wasting food, wasting water and energy, polluting the air, water, and land. Currently, there are several Western sustainable lifestyles projects and frameworks. However, unlike previous scholarly work, my study is built upon an Islamic perspective. It proposes a sustainable lifestyles framework in line with the 5 necessary goals of Sharia. These goals are preserving religion, life, intellect, progeny, and wealth. Therefore, my study aims to examine the impact of those goals on motivating, guiding, and framing individuals' behavior to sustain their lifestyles. With those goals in mind, sustainable lifestyle can be achieved and sustainable development can occur. The preliminary analysis shows a significant impact of the 5 goals on sustaining individuals' behavior and ultimately their lifestyles. Finally, it's up to you which lifestyle to adopt, either sustainable or unsustainable. But please care about others and the future generation. Moreover, remember that we have only one life and only one planet for living. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Yes, I do agree with Mr. Ali that the world nowadays is suffering due to the irresponsible act of certain people. people are inclined to practice unsustainable lifestyle compared to sustainable lifestyle like carpooling and also walking. Although we can't see the effect now, but we will in the future, especially to human and also to the environment. So we have now finished with the second category. Before we move on to the last category, we will start our second session of Lucky Draw. Again, there will be 3 winners in this session. And the keyword is I love USM. I repeat, I love USM. Okay? For those who like to test their luck, you can key in this keyword in the chat box now. We will announce the result in 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, while waiting for the result, it's good to share with everyone here that the top 3 contenders from today's competition will represent USM in the national competition. And those that won the national level will then represent Malaysia at the international level in Australia. So for all PhD students or prospective students who are interested to gain some experience and brownie points for your CV, you can enter this 3 minutes competition next year. Besides, don't forget to follow, like, and click IPS YouTube channel and also USM Admission Facebook profile. There will be a lot of events for all postgraduate students where you can strengthen your skills and also gain some new knowledge. We in IPS also welcome all prospective students to USM, and if you have any question related to USM, please feel free to contact us. All the contact details can be found in IPS website. Okay, well, we have quite a lot of people typing the keywords, and I also can see some familiar names, okay? But again, only those that are lucky enough today will be the winner. You will get some Grab vouchers, and you can use this voucher for your Grab car, Grab taxi, and even Grab food. Okay, I have got the names now. The first winner is Bus Richer. I repeat, I hope I pronounce your names right. Bus Richer. And the second winner is Nur Syuhada Idayu. I repeat, Nur Syuhada Idayu. And the last winner is Sani Saleh. I repeat, Sani Saleh. So congratulations to all winners. You can refer to the screen below on how to redeem your prizes. Now, I will pass to Balkis for our next category, which is Science and Technology. Balkis, now the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Anna, for the great session. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you again to the USM Virtual 3 Minutes Thesis Competition. Ladies and gentlemen, in this category of Science and Technology, there will be 16 contenders which will be presenting their research in this field. These presentations will be divided into 2 rounds, where contestant 1 to 8 will be in the first round, followed by contestant 9 to 16 in the second round. Now everyone, let's keep the ball rolling by inviting our first speaker, Miss Abhineshwari, daughter of Balraj, from the School of Mathematical Science, with a presentation entitled Modeling the Effects of Multiple Types of Interventions on Tuberculosis Transmission. Let's hear from her.
I'm living in an apartment. A few months ago, my neighbor Kamla Auntie had chest pain, fever, and cough that persists for 3 weeks. On the third week, my mom heard about the auntie's condition. In hurry, she came and told me, "Yo, auntie, Kamla, auntie got COVID-19. You know what? We are not going anywhere. We're going to stay at home only." Kamla, auntie, who initially thought her symptoms are normal, finally went for a checkup. The doctor says she got tuberculosis. Few days later, mom came and told me, "Happy, thank God, Kamla, auntie is not better at COVID-19. She got something called tuberculosis. I think it's a normal bacterial infection. You know what? I'm going to meet her now to ask for her well-being." I quickly stopped my mom. I told her, "Mom, tuberculosis is more dangerous than COVID-19. I'm currently doing my research on tuberculosis." She got shocked out of her life, sat down and asked me, "What is that, Abby?" So, my dear audience, I will tell you what I explained to my mom. Tuberculosis, also known as TB, is one of the top 10 worst deadliest infectious disease, which usually affects our lungs. The bacteria that cause TB are spread from one person to another through small droplets released into the air via coughs and sneezes. The global lockdown caused by COVID-19 brings a great increase in TB cases, with nearly addition of 6 million predicted new cases and 1.4 million addition of deaths by year 2025. Shocking, isn't it? But this is the bitter truth. Despite the strategies implemented by government and private bodies to reduce TB, there are still about 1.5 million people die from TB, and 10 million people infected with TB every year. Have you wondered why? As we all know, the term of COVID means someone who ignores the health advice about COVID-19. The same term applies for TB. TB is a preventable, treatable, and curable disease, but it all depends on how we act against this disease. So the purpose of my research is to analyze the effect of multiple types of interventions or synthesis strategies on TB transmission. We use modeling approach that we focus on vaccination, awareness, screening, quarantine, and treatment strategies. Quarantine and treatment will be categorized into core important strategies, whereas vaccination, awareness, and screening will be categorized into optional strategies. We analyze both of the type of the strategies and explore the effect of number of interventions. We also identify the most influential strategy on TB transmission. This study can be useful to various parties, especially government and public health sectors, to educate community on the importance of early prevention, detection, and treatment for TB. So to sum it up, let's end TB together. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abhineshwari, for the interesting presentation. Yes, we do agree, as a deadly disease that has become the cause of death to more than 1.5 million people worldwide, we must admit that understanding the intervention strategies on tuberculosis transmission is significant in curbing this disease. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you to our next speaker, Ms. Asma Sajid, from the School of Computer Science, with her presentation entitled Formulation of Effective Features for Fake News Detection. Interesting. Let's hear from her.
Do you know that eating lemons can make you hypnotic? Autism is caused into our children by the vaccinations that we give them. Hillary Clinton, the US presidential candidate, was actually human trafficking in a pizza shop that she had. COVID vaccination is injurious to health. HIV/AIDS virus was designed by USA in a lab for controlling the African population. These kind of news actually caused a Cold War between USA and Spain. These news could have been true only if the unicorns were true, which they are not. So that brings us towards the fake news. We hear different words regarding that. Clickbaits, rumors, stands, disinformation. Now, the problem is we need to classify the facts from the fake news. Issue is that on basis of what factor we can do that? Well, research tells us that 62% people believe that whatever they see online is actually true. 50% people believe that whatever they see on the television is true. Well, when we talk about the fake news, research tells us 87% of the fake news have the URLs which are fake. Next, we have different numbers regarding which tells us that videos and images contents are also fake. So how we can fact check them that what is fake and what is not? Well, there are different websites available. By using them, you can check them. But issue is that they are not enough. So research tells us we can use different type of features, textual and social features, to apply different language processing techniques on them to get better results. That brings us towards our methodology. We have actually gathered data from different data sources, analyzed it, and we have successfully identified some features for the identification of fake news from the facts. By applying different mixture of techniques, we call it hybrid techniques, we were actually able to classify fake news with the facts in a more successful manner. These features are actually some content-based features, user-based features, post-based features, some features like who has shared the news and what is its credibility. By using all of these features, we were able to get more better results in classifying the fake data from the actual news. So in this way, we are getting better results. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Asma, for the interesting presentation. Well, I couldn't agree more that life would be much easier if you could distinguish the fake news from the authentic ones. Well, I personally look forward towards the finding of your research, Ms. Asma. Okay, let's hear from our third speaker, Mr. Ayappa, son of V. Subramaniam, a PhD candidate from the Institute of Research in Molecular Medicine, with his presentation entitled BZD9L1, Elucidation of its Anti-Angiogenic Potential in Colorectal Cancer.
Throughout history, we have seen humans using a strategy of cutting off, diverting, or poisoning water sources such as rivers that leads towards enemy lands or camps to defeat them. This strategy has been proven effective in wars over the centuries. An analogy that I often use to describe my own research is the same. Dear audience, imagine there is an enemy camp situated just along the river. If a dam was built to block the river from flowing towards the enemy camp, their source of drinking water and food will deplete. This will eventually cause the enemies to be malnourished and die of starvation. Colorectal cancer is the third most common cancer around the world, recording about 1.8 million new cases based on the latest report in 2018. And it is the second most common cancer in Malaysia. Existing treatments to treat cancer are relatively good, but they are not without flaws. As many may already know, chemotherapy is an awful treatment which puts the patients through plenty of unpleasant side effects. To name a few, weight loss, nausea, vomiting, hair loss, etc. This is because as the drug is attacking the tumor cells, it is also damaging the healthy cells around the tumor. So, the solution is to find a drug that specifically targets the tumor cells, or a protein that will cause much lesser harm or none at all to the surrounding cells. A protein called sirtuin happens to be present in abundance in colorectal cancer and was found to be promoting blood vessel formation. Blood vessels are a source of nutrients and oxygen for cancer to grow and survive, therefore making it a suitable target for treatment. In my research, I use a drug that specifically targets sirtuin, which can potentially inhibit the formation of blood vessels towards colorectal cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, now try to piece things together and relate it back to the analogy I shared you earlier. I'm sure many of you now understand my research, which is to starve and deprive the cancer of oxygen and nutrients, eventually killing it. On January 16, 2021, I personally experienced the loss of a loved one to cancer, my best friend, Dr. Nelson Tan. Ever since then, I have been even more determined to succeed in the cancer research field, hopefully contributing to it in the nearest future. I dedicate my research to Nelson and all those who are affected by cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ayappa. Similar to your situation, I too had an experience losing a close family friend early this month after she battles against this cancer for almost a year. We do hope that the findings from your research can help other fighters and survivors to regain their health. Well, moving on to our fourth presenter, we bring to you Mr. Charles Ng Wai Chun from the School of Industrial Technology to present his studies in a presentation entitled The 3-in-1 Fertilizer Coating. The floor is yours, Mr. Charles.
Our planet is dying. We have heard this for decades. But why is it happening? We are facing a lot of problems nowadays. Waste problem, crisis, climate change, and pollution. All sorts of pollution. And when we talk about pollution, we will think of river, right? Because in Malaysia alone, 47% of our rivers are polluted. In fact, almost half of all. But here comes the question again. Why? One of the biggest reasons, fertilizer runoff from the agro-industry. In 2017, a chicken farm that produces fertilizers from chicken manure polluted the Johor River severely and disrupted the water supply to 1.8 million users, and that's more than half of the population in Johor. And are we going to allow this to happen again and again? Definitely not. And because of that, in my PhD, I dedicate myself in producing a coating for the fertilizer as a solution. It might seem conventional, but it is not. Let me introduce to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, the 3-in-1 fertilizer coating. And what's so special about this? Number one, the coating will encapsulate the fertilizer and making it a slow release fertilizer that will slow down the release of nutrients from the fertilizer to the plants. And from here, the nutrients are released ideally at the rate that the plants use them, so the amount of nutrient leached during watering is minimal, hence reduced fertilizer runoff. One problem solved. Number two, the coating is added with micronutrient that is essential to the plants. Just like us, human, we need minerals and vitamins for our growth and health, right? So do plants. Micronutrients such as copper is needed by plants in photosynthesis as well as other biological processes. So lack of micronutrient could cause plant turn yellow, wilt, and we will lose our food resources. So by adding micronutrient to the coating, another problem tackled. Number three, people say 2020s is the era of biotechnology. And yes, bacterium will join in. This coating is specially incorporated with a good bacterium, which is Bacillus subtilis, that is a perfect companion to the plants. But how? This bacterium produces hormones, enzymes, and antioxidants that assist the plants in its defense system against harmful pathogens. And now, the plant can grow happily and healthily under protection. Well, with this 3-in-1 fertilizer coating, we can look forward to see our Mother Earth smile again. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Charles Ng Wai Chun, for a very insightful presentation. Well, it is great to learn that a simple solution of fertilizer coating can do wonders, solving significant pollution issues in addition to promoting growth of the plant, our source of food. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us move to our next presenter, Ms. Farzana Athira binti Abdul Latif, also from the School of Industrial Technology, to deliver her presentation entitled Multigrain Comfort to Relieving Rheumatoid Arthritis.
How many of you have a cup of coffee this morning? It's so pleasurable, right? Did you know that some of us feel very painful just by holding a cup of coffee? That is what rheumatoid arthritis, aka RA, patient experience. RA is an autoimmune disease whereby their immune system mistakenly attacks the healthy body cell and cause joint pain and swollen joints. In Malaysia, the number of cases reported had increased years by years. It can attack any one of us, regardless of age and gender. But to make the matter worse, there is no cure for this RA disease. My study reported that RA mostly attacked women. Currently, the alternative for RA treatment is using drug medication to suppress RA symptoms. But this drug has prolonged side effects such as vitamin D and also folic acid deficiency. Due to this side effect, my study was designed to control RA pain by combining drug with fiber source, which is high fiber multigrain supplementation. Have you ever wondered how much of dietary fiber that you consume daily? One surprising fact is Malaysians only consume 13 grams of fiber per day, which is below the recommended level of at least 25 grams per day by the World Health Organization (WHO). My research aims is to evaluate the effectiveness of 15 gram high fiber multigrain supplementation on first, clinical disease severity, second, inflammatory biomarkers, and third, oxidative stress and oxidant biomarkers. My 5 secret grains are oat, wheat, brown rice, soybean, and black beans. 25 patients with moderate to severe RA were given with 2 sessions of high fiber multigrain supplementation before breakfast and dinner. Surprisingly, after 12-week consumption, those RA patients experienced less joint pain and joint stiffness by 60% compared to those in control group which did not receive multigrain supplementation. My data also demonstrate that 15 gram multigrain fiber did reduce clinical disease severity, inflammatory biomarkers, and oxidative stress, and also it improved the oxidant level of those RA patients. Multigrain are high in fiber that help to promote body immunity by the production of short-chain fatty acid. It also rich in vitamins and minerals that help to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress that trigger the disease. Clinically, 15 grams of multigrain fiber helps to relieve RA pain. My last word is, medication is the king, but good food is a wise medication. Thank you.
Indeed, as Ms. Fazana Athira had quoted in her closing statement, that good food always is a wise and smart solution in combating diseases and illnesses. Well, we do hope that findings from this study are able to improve the quality of life of those who suffered from this autoimmune disease of rheumatoid arthritis. Well, everyone, let's keep the ball rolling. Let us now hear from our next presenter, Ms. Fatima Sulaiman, a PhD candidate from the School of Mathematical Sciences, which will be presenting a presentation entitled Tuberculosis Kills More Than Any Other Infectious Disease in History.
Hi everyone. My research interest is based on mathematical model for tuberculosis infection. Tuberculosis is the disease of the lungs and is known as TB. TB is one of the most contagious infectious diseases with a high rate of mortality despite government effort and control strategies currently set up to achieve TB-free world. TB continues to cause a major public health problem globally. According to World Health Organization, every year there's an estimated 10 million cases and 1.5 million people die from TB. Mathematical model is a mathematical representation of real-life problem or system. Mathematical model provide a useful tools to analyze the spread and control of TB and any other infectious disease. It is through mathematical model that dynamical behavior of TB can be predicted more effectively. The purpose of my research is to develop a mathematical model for tuberculosis infection using ordinary differential equation by incorporating different control strategies such as public health education and hospital treatment, an imperfect vaccine, saturated treatment, and optimal control. Model formulation was done by breaking down the total population into an epidemiological classes. The dynamical behavior of the model was investigated in terms of basic reproduction number, known as R0. R0 play an important role in epidemiology. R0 is a mathematical quantity that determines if the disease will occur or not in a given population. If R naught is less than 1, ensures TB elimination, but R naught greater than 1 lead to TB outbreak. For example, if there's an occurrence of any disease in a given population, the first thing that an epidemiologist will wish to know as soon as possible is R naught. For instance, if R naught is equal to 2, this implies that on the average, one infected individual will infect another 2 others, and these 2 others will infect another 4 others. Before you know it, many people get infected. Numerical simulation of the model was conducted in order to verify our theoretical finding, and our result shows that control strategies play a positive role in disease elimination. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fatima Sulaiman, for the interesting presentation on how mathematical models can be applied to predict tuberculosis infection. This will hopefully help the policymakers to implement strategies in combating this deadly disease. We now welcome Mr. Fung Che from the School of Computer Science to present his presentation entitled Learning to Solve Dynamic Vehicle Routing Problem. Mr. Fung Che, the floor is yours.
The most excited moment during pandemic lockdown is either you are receiving your parcel or your food has been delivered to you. But do you ever notice that both of them are having different nature? Parcel delivery can be planned ahead days before, therefore it is known as static routing. At the other end, food delivery is a real-time event, where the orders can arrive at any time. Rider do not have any ideas where he is going to deliver the food beforehand. This real-time event is known as Dynamic Vehicle Routing Problem, DVRP, which you are optimizing your task and route to ensure fastest response and delivery in real time. E-hailing services such as GrabCar and Uber are also an example of DVRP. DVRP is so important because we need a quick response to environment changes such as traffic congestion in e-hailing service. Your objective is to optimize the resources available to shorten task completion time, or else your customer will get frustrated due to delay of the order. Moreover, self-driving car is the future. Autonomous delivery vehicle, which is a reality in USA and China now, shall be intelligent enough to handle complex traffic conditions. You might ask, what has been done so far and why new approach is required? Well, traditionally, the approaches are tailor-made and customized. Something works in Penang might not work well in Kuala Lumpur. This is not scalable, as handcrafted design is required if changes occur. So, is there any better way to automate the algorithm? Here comes our artificial intelligence proposal. By looking at the historical data, the machine learning algorithm is smart enough to make the right decision. With its learning capabilities, the algorithm will improve over time automatically or by its own. The advantage is that there's no human intervention. In case of minor changes, engineers do not have to revisit the algorithm frequently because the improvement process is automated. Besides, generalization is another expected outcome. As long as the problem nature are the same, it can be reused in different scenarios. For example, food delivery or e-hailing service in different cities using the same algorithm. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Fung Che, for the insightful presentation. So whenever we received our delivery package or food orders delivery via delivery services, we now understand that this process, which seemingly smooth on the surface, actually involve a complex routing system which places customer satisfaction as their utmost priority. All right, everyone, let us continue with our final presenter for this first round, Mr. Muhammad Salim Anis, a PhD candidate from the School of Pharmaceutical Sciences. Mr. Muhammad Salim will be presenting on a topic entitled, How Does Digital Marketing Affect Your OTC Drug Decision?
Assalamu alaikum. I have a question for you. Do you use painkillers like Panadol when you have a headache? Are you using vitamins to improve your body immunity during this pandemic time of COVID-19? Or maybe you know someone who uses them? Your answer is probably yes, right? Okay, that's good. But I have another one. Have you recently seen any paid video advertisement about vitamins, supplements, or other similar products on YouTube? Before the video you want to watch starts? Alright, as you know, this actually is only one example of many digital marketing techniques available. Before dive in, let me introduce myself very quickly. My name is Salim, a PhD student at School of Pharmaceutical Science, discipline of Social and Administrative Pharmacy. I am doing research in pharmaceutical marketing field with title The Impact of Digital Marketing on OTC drugs purchasing decision in Malaysia. Well, I know your turn now, and you might want to ask, what does OTC means? And what do you want to achieve by conducting your research project? Okay, firstly, over-the-counter medicine is also known as OTC or non-prescription medicine. All these terms refer to medicines that you can buy without a need for a medical prescription from a healthcare professional. And basically, by conducting this mixed method research, I want to identify the most important factor related to digital marketing that can influence the purchasing decision of OTC drugs consumer in the Malaysian market. Whether this influence is on online purchasing decisions such as buying from online pharmacies or even e-commerce marketplace platforms such as Lazada and Shopee, or on the other hand, the influence is on, we can say, offline purchasing decisions such as buying from actual physical pharmacies. This will provide valuable information to decision makers at both government levels such as Ministry of Health as well as the private sector, including, of course, pharmaceutical companies, in order to serve this large segment of consumer based on their needs and communicate with them in a more efficient and data-driven manner. Especially, we are witnesses a shift in healthcare system in many countries to patient-centered care, in addition to the serious effort aimed to increase health knowledge among the public. And digital marketing of commonly used drugs that we are studying in this research is a very effective way to spread the health knowledge in the current digital age. I hope this video makes you more interested in this topic. Thanks as you stay watching up to this point. Stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Mr. Salim Anis, for the enlightening presentation. Well, it is an interesting question that we as customer owns the purchasing power. How much of our decision actually is influenced by the digital marketing? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had listened to first 8 speakers in this first round. Let us now take a short break by having our last lucky draw session. Well, are you ready for the last keyword? Okay, the final keyword will be USM number 1. So I repeat, USM number 1. Okay, go ahead and key in this keyword now in our comment box and stand a chance to win the prizes. All right, everyone, while waiting, let me remind again, winners for this lucky draw session may redeem the prizes by submitting details like your name, mobile number, and email address, and email them to farah_man@usm.my, latest by 23rd November 2021. Now, if you did not catch the details that I've mentioned before, not to worry. You can always refer to the crawlers below regarding the prize redemption details. So everyone quickly type in the keywords in comment box of our Facebook live page and YouTube live page. And let's see if we have the winners. Okay. The first winner for our lucky draw session is Miss Mashita Matzubair. Congratulations, Miss Mashita. Okay, the second winner for this lucky draw session is Miss Gayatri Tony Cheng. Miss Gayatri Tony Cheng, congratulations. Another winner for this is Chiu. Hi Chiu. Chiu. I hope you got the name right. And the final winner for this lucky draw session is Wan Zafira Eza Wan Zakaria. Congratulations to all the winners of our last lucky draw session. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us continue with the second round of the science and technology category. This session consists of another 8 presentations from the selected candidates. Now, without further ado, let us move forward and hear what our next speaker has to say. We welcome Ms. Nik Nur Shazana binti Nik Muhammad Kamal, representing the School of Dental Sciences, with a presentation entitled Ways That Gives Promise in Periodontal Disease. Let's hear from her.
If you do not comply to every 6-month routine of dental checking, you having calculus that deposit on the teeth that cannot be removed only by brushing the teeth, beware, you might having periodontitis unknowingly. The Ministry of Health Malaysia stated that 94% of adults in Malaysian population suffer from this. Why so many? Perhaps because this is a slow progressive type of gum disease with no exact painful symptom, which make it very hard to be detected at early stage. For now, the detection can only be done at dental clinic while having periodontal pocket depth checking. If you are lucky enough, your disease is detected at early stage, you can just follow a good oral hygiene technique, go for a several scaling and treatment process, and boom, you could control the disease and stop the gum from further destruction. But what if the disease is detected at severe stage? Then perhaps you needed the flap surgery. The surgery does not work? Then, like it or not, perhaps you will losing your teeth. Now, this sounds serious, right? So, what to do? Well, worry not, my research have an interesting idea. We all know about the self-testing kit for COVID, right? We use our own waste, that is saliva, and self-tested easily at home. Very easy. So, the big picture of my research was to facilitate the development of such kit for periodontitis. To do so, I would need something that can easily differentiate between the disease and healthy sample, and this we call as biomarker. For my case, I'm using microRNA as potential biomarker. Simply put, microRNA is similar to RNA and DNA in such that they all contain genetic material. Humans have thousands of microRNA, so how to choose? Well, I took the saliva from diseased and healthy individual and looked for microRNA that easily differentiate between the two, and I studied their function. At the end, I was able to list down 2 microRNA that have the biggest potential to be developed as biomarker. Hopefully, continuation of this study would be smooth sailing and that the self-testing kit for periodontitis would soon be a reality.
Thanks, Ms. Shazana. It is undeniable that early detection might reduce the severity of the periodontal disease. And it is hoped that development of testing kits that are user-friendly and also low in cost could provide the solution in managing this oral disease. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us now listen to our next speaker from the Institute of Research in Molecular Medicine, Ms. Raihan Muhammad Shabani, with a presentation entitled A Hope to Prevent Severe Diarrhea During Flood Season. We welcome Ms. Raihan.
December 2014, a massive flood was hit the east coast of Malaysia and has been described as the worst flood in decades in this country. More than 200,000 people were affected, while 21 were killed. Besides causing life loss and property damage, floodwater is also responsible for water contamination biologically. Be aware, the floodwater may contain sewage, and ingestion of anything contaminated with floodwater can cause diarrheal disease. Shigella is found as a type of bacteria transported in the floodwater from one location to another during the flood. This bacteria is the primary cause of diarrheal disease, especially among children less than 5 years old. The occurrence of multi-drug resistant strain of Shigella species has contributed to the ineffectiveness of the existing treatment, indicating the need for strategic control against the infection of this disease. The current effort to control the spread of Shigella are limited. The progress of sanitation infrastructure need a long time to succeed and costly. The more equitable and cost-effective preventive intervention is vaccination. The critical goal for Shigella vaccine should be effective and safe in children. However, many unknown facts need to be explored before the rational development of Shigella vaccine. If compared with the conventional vaccine, which use the whole organism, my study used subunit protein from the outer membrane of Shigella to induce an immune response with fewer side effects. I use advanced technology called mass spectrometry, which combined with bioinformatic tools to determine the antigenic and immunogenic protein from Shigella. In this research, I found two proteins from the outer membrane of Shigella, which are called FAB-A and TON-B, as the most suitable candidate for the subunit-based Shigella vaccine. These two proteins were reacted with the antibody from Shigella-infected human and rabbit serum. And interestingly, these two proteins were also reacted with the serum from Klebsiella and also Salmonella-infected human serum. This indicates the FAB-A and TON-B have the protective ability with Shigella species and also Klebsiella and Salmonella species, which are all categorized under the bacteria that cause diarrheal disease. This research was the first to discover the FAB-A and TON-B as the candidate for Shigella vaccine and had a significant public health impact. Remember, vaccination saves lives at every stage of life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Raihan, for a very insightful presentation. Interesting indeed, with the application of mass spectrometry and bioinformatic tools, we are able to identify specific proteins potentially developed into Shigella vaccines. We are equally excited and hope for your research to success in the near future. Now let us continue with our next speaker, Ms. Norshida Harun, also from the Institute of Research in Molecular Medicine, in a presentation entitled Promising Dengue Antiviral Through Chemical Biology Approach. We welcome Ms. Norshida.
Reminiscing few years back when I started my career as a medical lab technologist, a sick yet cheerful young boy who was suspected to have dengue infection came to my lab for a blood test. his condition that evening worsening and he was transferred to the ICU just next door to my lab. Suddenly, at 2 a.m., I heard a loud, devastating scream from his mom, calling out his name. At that moment, I knew that we have lost the boy. Besides that, few other cases have crossed my path. I have lost a friend and recently a very dear student due to dengue. Never had I imagined that those experiences have brought me here today, working on my PhD research focusing on dengue antiviral. This is a golden opportunity or mission for me to help others from losing their loved ones due to the deadly infection. Dengue viruses are spread to people through the bite of an infected Aedes mosquito. Dengue viral infection can result in a variety of symptoms such as fever, rash, and muscle joint pain. Some may not experience any symptoms at all, while in others it may lead to dengue fever or severe form of fever causing serious bleeding. At this juncture, dengue infection can be so unpredictable, snatching someone's life out of a sudden. This is where my PhD work would like to address an antiviral that can prevent the infected person from experiencing more severe condition by disrupting the virus progress. Now, let us dive in deeper to my mission possible strategies by referring to the infographic that I've prepared. My PhD focuses on finding potential antiviral, which are our superhero here, that can inhibit dengue virus carried by our villain, the mosquito. Let's focus on dengue virus. Imagine we are peeling off the skin of a fruit, which is the virus membrane, exposing its flesh, the inner cell, and its seed, the genome and viral proteins. This is the particular part that we aim to tackle. Imagine if we disturb this chain of protein, the virus will not form. Now, to scrutinize the antiviral that can do the job, I combine the computer simulation and the laboratory method that confirm its potential activities in disrupting the virus formation. So far, 3 compounds have been evaluated through computer simulation, which displays promising outcome. We do not stop here. The superhero's competency were further validated by testing antiviral if they work on killing dengue virus on cells. Guess what? We don't just have a winner, but we have 3 potential dengue antiviral candidates that made our mission possible.
Thank you, Ms. Norshida Harun, for the interesting presentation. As approximately 3.6 billion people are estimated to live in the tropical and subtropical areas, the search for antiviral compounds to combat this mosquito-borne disease is really significant and much awaited for by many nations, including our country, Malaysia. Well, good luck, Ms. Norshida. We pray for the success of your research. Let us now welcome our next speaker from the School of Industrial Technology, Mr. Ojukwu Moses, to present his presentation entitled Gluten-Free Functional Rice Noodles.
We all are busy people. We desire fast and convenient foods. Wheat noodles are nice, tasty, nutritious, and extensible. Do you eat wheat noodles? If you do, then you are among the fortunate people in the world, because there are over 80 million people who suffer an autoimmune disorder triggered by the ingestion of food substances that contain gluten. Of course, gluten is the component of wheat, the major raw material used in making your wheat noodles. There in my picture is a man in desperate need of gluten-free wheat flour noodles. And to the vendor, his demand sounds crazy. But as a food scientist, I thought of what I could do to solve this man's problem. At first, take away wheat flour and add your rice flour to produce rice noodles. Unfortunately, the rice noodles were soft, breaks easily, not extensible, and disintegrates when cooked. Then it dawned on me that I needed to work on the texture and the structure of the rice noodles. This I did by the introduction of soy proteins into the noodle matrix. My choice of soy proteins is because it is a functional food that offers better bone health and reduces risk to type 2 diabetes while having complete amino acids. In order to strengthen the system the more, I introduced a naturally occurring enzyme called microbial transglutaminase. This enzyme is the same one you used in your sushi. And also to extend the shelf life of the noodles, I used superheated steam processing. On the overall, I found that the robust network created by the protein interaction in the noodle system made the rice noodles to become very chewy, extensible, and also possess similar characteristics to those of wheat flour noodles. And to cap it all, this noodle could cook for just 4 minutes, saving so much energy and time. This 4 minutes is a 25% reduction in the time needed to cook wheat noodles. So to this man, I have not just provided him with a gluten-free food, but I have offered him a functional noodle that could take care of his hunger and offer him health benefits. I believe that one day, the fried noodle market will make use of my rice noodles. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ojukwu Moses. Real research regarding food never fails to fascinate us. We do realize that individuals with gluten intolerance must avoid food containing gluten to avoid intestinal damage and any other symptoms. Well, such brilliant innovations will hopefully provide the alternatives and better options for those who suffer from this condition. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to our next speaker, Ms. Samia Riaz Ahmad from the School of Dental Sciences with a presentation entitled, Can a Single Tooth Be a Source of Human Identification? Technologies in Forensic.
Let us take a moment to go back in history. 2004 tsunami, Indonesia. 2005 earthquake, Pakistan. 2010 earthquake, Haiti. 2011, Japan. An earthquake shook the islands, followed by a tsunami that took away thousands of lives, never to be found again. History is full of such incidences where the lack of the data for the human investigations resulted in poor identifications. Disasters, whether accidental, criminal or natural, may end up with human remains that are badly decomposed, such as the face recognition or the fingerprints become impossible. The identification then depends on forensic dentistry. Our study approaches the two aspects of the forensic dentistry. First is the comparative identification, where the ante and the postmortem dental records are compared to detect any unique dental feature that may lead to true or positive identifications, like the restorations, missing teeth, any prosthesis. But luck is not the same every time. In the current scenario of the improved oral hygiene, most of the cases are inconclusive since all the teeth are sound and healthy. Thus, the forensic dentist has to find some other unique biological evidence. So, why not look for it on the occlusal or the chewing surfaces of the healthy teeth? No two fingerprints are identical. Similarly, we hypothesize that no two groove patterns are identical. By proving this uniqueness in our study, we'll open a new pathway for the confirmed identification if the ante-mortem record is available for even a single sound tooth. But again, luck is not the same every time. The ante-mortem records may be absent. Our study then focuses on the reconstructive identification that narrows down the search to the age, sex, and the race estimation by observing the dental features on the plaster dental cast, radiographs, and the photographs. Unfortunately, these dental records in Malaysia are of poor quality. Therefore, our second aim is to see if by converting these dental records into 2D digital data can improve the quality of the reconstructive identification techniques in Malaysia. In this new era of the 3D technology, the forensic dentistry is likely to include the 3D techniques in the future as well. By taking the impression from the deceased, the forensic dentist can create a 3D postmortem dental cast that records even the mini complex details of the tooth surfaces that may lead to a positive or true identification. No previous study has been conducted in Malaysia based on these techniques. Therefore, we aim to determine how a single tooth can lead to a positive identification, or how can it help with the sex estimation or even the sex prediction of the deceased in Malaysia, so that we are confident that with these new techniques, we have a safer and reliable data which in the worst cases may be fruitful in reuniting the families with their missing loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Samia. It is hoped that this new forensic identification method will shine light, especially to those who has lost their loved ones in tragedies and violent natural disasters. I do believe that research like this and others alike strikes a strong sense of purpose that motivates us as researchers to keep going. Well, let us invite our next speaker, Ms. Salwani binti Mat Saad from the Advanced Medical and Dental Institute to present her presentation entitled Perfect Match, Potentiating Molecularly Imprinted Polymer for Green Analysis.
Imagine the time where you're celebrating special occasions with your friends and family over a salivating chicken dinner, perhaps rendang, fried chicken and chicken grill. Have it ever encountered to you that your special meal can be harmful to your health? In 2018, a random sampling of chicken meat across Peninsular Malaysia came back with a worrying case of positive sample traced with tetracycline and quinolones. Over the last few decades, poultry industry is among the main consumer of antibiotics. Even though antibiotics are effective to stimulate animal growth and productivity, improper farming practice will leave residues within the flesh of chicken or eggs. The antibiotics residues are toxic, and accumulation of them can cause antibiotics resistance in human. In order to ensure product safety, routine monitoring by the authority is necessary. Unfortunately, the common analytical method employed usually involves tedious procedure, costly, and time-consuming, and it uses a large amount of toxic solvent, which is detrimental to the environment. So, where my study came to provide solution to this issue. Currently, my objective is to develop a reliable, sensitive, and greener methods that will be used to detect the residue of these antibiotics in the poultry-based food. An absorbent called hollow porous molecularly imprinted polymer will be used, and as the name suggests, molecularly imprinted polymer is a polymer that have cavities that will only attract antibiotics of interest, just like the lock and key mechanism. The donut shape of the absorbent is designed in a way with a hollow center to enable higher surface area for more access and recognition of antibiotics of interest. Then, the absorbent will be used in a solid phase microextraction system, or in short, SPME. The MIP are packaged in small envelopes and dunked into sample solution, and the whole process of extraction and pre-concentration is simplified and done in a single vial. Moreover, the amount of solvent used are also minimized, thus reducing wastage and greener to the environment. The final eluted liquid will be subjected to determination using a liquid chromatography mass spectrometer. The method offers high sensitivity with low cost of operation and allowing and helping authority to conduct more random sampling. So next time you're eating your chicken meal, worry not.
Well, there you go. As Ms. Salwani had stressed in her presentation, this new and green detection method of antibiotic residues in poultry will hopefully provide us, the end consumer, with food that is safe to eat without long-term effects of antibiotic resistance in the future. Well, let us turn to our next speaker, a PhD candidate from the School of Dental Sciences, Ms. Siti Nur Nasihah binti Mat Hashim, with a presentation entitled Baby Tooth, Can Its Stem Cells Decode the Cancer Mechanism? We welcome Ms. Siti Nur Nasihah to present her presentation.
Our skin is covered by epithelial cells. And did you know that epithelial cells also cover the surface of our mouth and organs? Basically, epithelial cells are crucial to protect the body from pathogens and foreign particles that can cause disease. For example, the most common type of cancer, which is carcinoma. Carcinoma is originated from epithelial cells. In order to treat this cancer effectively, one needs to understand how the cancer is being formed. Therefore, my research involves investigating factors controlling the transformation of epithelial cells to carcinoma, but by studying the reverse process. Do not be afraid, I am not going to generate any cancer cells. Since stem cells share similar characteristics with cancer cells, here I am using stem cells from the baby tooth. The reason why I choose that stem cells is because it has the same embryonic origin source as epithelial cells. In other words, both cells are coming from similar roots before they become epithelial cells and stem cells. In my study, a suitable living environment mimicking the nature was created where stem cells are co-cultured with epithelial cells, grow them together to influence the stem cell changes towards epithelial cells. The genes that control these changes are captured using a technology called microarray. Results from microarray generated a massive data. Therefore, I use artificial intelligence technology to determine the unique genes and pathways that might control the changes. These unique genes and pathways would be the potential candidates for further exploration. In the end, I will be able to decode the cancer mechanism by unraveling the unique genes and pathways that transform stem cells to epithelial cells. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Siti Nur Nasiha. True enough, as most children usually start losing their baby tooth at the age of 5 to 7 years old, stem cells extracted from the tooth are excellent candidate to study the development of carcinoma cells. We truly hope that the outcome from this research will help us to understand the underlying mechanisms and also the pathways of carcinoma cancer. Ladies and gentlemen, we had reached the final speaker of the day, Mr. Thivendran, son of Marimuthu, from the School of Computer Science, to deliver his presentation entitled The Quantum Aided Combinatorial Optimization. Now let's not waste any time. We welcome Mr. Thivendran.
Hello everyone. How many of us have ever used a food delivery or a parcel delivery services? And how many of us have ever thought about the process of transferring items from one location to another location? Well, it could sound simpler, but when it comes to reality, transferring multiple items to multiple locations tend to be a difficult or challenging task. Let me put this aside. Let me talk about something much more relevant to my research. My research is about improving harvesting operation in oil palm plantation. And one of the problems in there is about transferring crops from multiple farms to a single location, which is a factory. Well, both problems that I presented just now is about getting the items transferred in an optimal manner, and this is what combinatorial optimization problem is all about. In reality, combinatorial optimization problem is computationally intensive due to two reasons. The first reason is the curse of dimensionality. The data associated with the problem tend to be highly dimensional and huge in terms of amount, and this leads to a very complicated processing and eventually leads to the second factor, which is there's a limited computational power with our current classical computers. This situation leads to a very need to look for sophisticated computing alternatives, and this is where quantum computing comes into the picture. Well, we have been exposed to CPU and GPU for many years, but recently for past 5 to 10 years, we are exposed to QPU, a quantum processing unit, which is a core element of quantum computers. In terms of operational mechanism, we are well known that a classical computer is running on top of bits, which can exist either 0 or 1 at once. However, for quantum computer, it runs on top of qubits, which can exist as 0 and 1 at the same time. Well, imagine someone can do two things at the same time. Superior, isn't it? The same thing applies here. Regarding the current landscape of quantum computers, there are two main classes of quantum computer. The first one is a gate-based quantum computer, which is analytically similar to our current classical computers, running on top of logical bits. And there's another class of quantum computer, which is called as a quantum annulus, running on top of the concept of simulated annealing. Let's talk about how to use the quantum computers to solve a combinatorial optimization problem. Well, before that, we need to understand that quantum computers does not exist as a dedicated infrastructure. Well, you cannot own the hardware at your home. You need to use it, quantum computer over the network as a web services. Talking about the application flow, well, the problem together with the data need to be submitted from a classical computer to a quantum computer over the network. And quantum computer will process the data and return back the results to the classical computer back again over the network. Well, talking about the step-by-step flow to solve COP problem, combinatorial optimization problem, using quantum computer is, the first, we need to identify a problem. And this problem need to be modeled into a model which is understandable by quantum computer. For instance, a D-wave quantum computer can understand Kuber model only. And this model, together with the data, need to be submitted to quantum computer. And quantum computer, after processing and everything, will return the results back to again to the classical computer. And this will be done, everything will be done over the network. And this is how combinatorial optimization problem can be solved using quantum computer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Thivendran, for the excellent presentation. It will be very exciting to witness how this rapidly emerging technology will be applied to solve complicated problems, enabling simulations, and in the end allowing us to explore new and efficient materials, or even enabling mega supply chains in the future. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to all participants. Then also not to forget that you as the audience may also vote for your favorite contestant via the People's Choice Award. Well, perhaps Anna would like to remind our audience again regarding this award. Over to you, Anna.
Okay, thank you to all contenders. And now we are going to have a short break for 5 minutes. Our judges will deliberate the result and be back with us in a short while. So just a gentle reminder, please don't forget to vote for your favorite presenter through the link provided in the Facebook or YouTube comment box. So the contender with the highest vote will be considered as the winner. And you may start your voting now, and it will be closed after 5 minutes. So while voting, let's enjoy the video prepared by MPRC.
Today, at the dawn of a new day, 1 in 5 live on less than $1 a day. Where clean water is scarce, where healthcare is limited, where even one meal is hard to find, a brighter future can seem an impossible dream. But we can make a difference to the things that matter. Today, I will make a difference. Today, I will nurture them. Today, I will transform them in their everyday, every song, every life, every dream, and every seed of hope. For them, their children, and their children's children. A brighter tomorrow awaits. Through the power of our commitment, today we will make a difference.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. I am Nabella. On behalf of the entire campus community, welcome to Penang Antar University Science Malaysia. USM is also known as University in the Garden, with its beautiful and scenic campus setting. We take pride in creating an environment that would bring about the feel-good factor to the campus community as indicated by the increased happiness index. Established in 1969, USM became a research university in 2006-2007 and has been awarded the APEX status in 2008. USM is also recognized by UNESCO as the preferred university for community engagement. USM views the harmonious integration between the arts and the sciences as an innate strength. This is what we have for you in store this afternoon. Thank you.
Today, at the dawn of a new day, 1 in 5 live on less than $1 a day. Where clean water is scarce, where healthcare is limited, where even one meal is hard to find, a brighter future can seem an impossible dream. But we can make a difference to the things that matter. Today, I will make a difference. Today, I will nurture them. Today, I will transform them in their everyday, every song, every life, every dream, and every seed of hope. For them, their children, and their children's children. A brighter tomorrow awaits. Through the power of our commitment, today we will make a difference.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. I am Nabella. On behalf of the entire campus community, welcome to Penang Anto University Science Malaysia. USM is also known as University in the Garden, with its beautiful and scenic campus setting. We take pride in creating an environment that would bring about the feel-good factor to the campus community as indicated by the increased happiness index. Established in 1969, USM became a research university in 2006-2007 and has been awarded the APEX status in 2008. USM is also recognized by UNESCO as the preferred university for community engagement. USM views the harmonious integration between the arts and the sciences as an innate strength. This is what we have for you in store this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, the voting for People's Choice Award is now closed. Before we announce the winner, let us hear from the Chief Judge, Professor Dr. Fauzia Ahmad, for her comments and advice to our participants. Let's welcome Prof. Fauzia to the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to the Dean, Deputy Dean of IPS, fellow juries, my colleagues, and to all participants that participated in 3MT thesis competition. Alhamdulillah and congrats to all that have took part in this competition. You are all the winners. Why? Because all of you can deliver with confidence in front of the screen and telling us your story related to your research. It was difficult for us really to judge. However, we can only choose 3 winners of each category. During our deliberations, we have seen positive attributes such as you are confident, able to communicate and attract attention, explaining very clear on what you are doing and the importance and the impactful of your research or discovery. This is the strong element which we can see. However, there are few things which some of you have to practice, trying to speak sharply with good phonetics and not in a hurry. Some movement need to be varied and not too aggressive because this will attract attention on your movement rather than listening to what you want to say. Be focused and with good tone. Strategize the problem, relate to your study and what are the outcomes that will make changes to the society, person, or environment. For us, all of you are the winner. Heartiest congratulations to all. It gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to thank my fellow jury in judging all of you and for your presence and participation in 3MT. It shows us that you have done a great research at USM. Thank you, IPS and the committee for appointing us as judges. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Fauzia, for the insightful comments.
Now I would like to welcome our honourable guest, Prof. Dato Dr. Narima Samad, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International Affairs of USM, for the closing remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Our distinguished guests, deans, director, USM staff and students, outstanding contestant of USM 3 Minute Thesis Competition 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, on behalf of the University Science Malaysia, it is a great pleasure to welcome all of you to the annual University Science Malaysia 3 Minute Thesis Competition 2021, organized by the Institute of Postgraduate Studies, USM. What makes this event unique this year is that it is now hosted and attended virtually by the juries, attendees, and contestants. As we are moving from the pandemics to the endemic phase throughout the country, we hope to continue to have all our activities as usual in a new norm. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all are aware, 3 Minute Thesis Competition is a research communication competition first developed by the University of Queensland in 2008, and now it has gained worldwide acceptance in more than 18 countries, including Malaysia. This competition is also supported by the Malaysian Council of Deans of Graduate Studies, and this year marks the 6th edition of our participation and organization of this competition at USM level. Ladies and gentlemen, the competition is significant to USM as it brings together brilliant and outstanding PhD researchers from various disciplines in our one special platform. Presenting in a 3-minute thesis competition increases the students' capacity to effectively explain their research in 3 minutes in a language appropriate to a non-specialist audience. Today, we have the opportunity to listen to interesting presentation from different research areas and to appreciate each and every research efforts and scientific findings that they have presented to us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I really hope this program will become a catalyst for USM students to discover more ideas and to promote the scientific research findings to the USM community and the society at large. Before I end this speech, I would like to express my utmost gratitude and appreciation to IPS, PPKT, and PTPM, and all parties involved for making this virtual event a success in the midst of pandemic. To all the 3-minute thesis contestants, I would like to wish you all the best in today's competition. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Datuk Narima, for the inspiring speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the highlight of our event for today. It is now the time for us to announce the winner of the People's Choice Award. And the winner for this award goes to, with the total number of votes, 688 votes for the People's Choice Award. The highest votes goes to Miss Norshidah binti Harun. Congratulations, Ms. Nurshida. And the winner for this award will receive a certificate and also a grant voucher from IPS. Congratulations. Okay, we have come to the most awaited moment. We are going to announce the results for each category. Okay, the first category is engineering. The third place goes to Mr. Omar Ali from the School of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. Congratulations, Mr. Omar. Okay, the second place goes to Mr. Izzat Ikhwan Abdul Jalil from the School of Chemical Engineering. Congratulations, Mr. Izzat. Now, the first place goes to Mr. Danny Hartanto Jarom from the School of Chemical Engineering. Congratulations, Mr. Danny.
Well, coming up next, we will announce the winners of social science category. Well, the third place goes to Mr. Ali Mahalo from the School of Communication. Well, the second place goes to Ms. Christina Cabrejas Artola from the School of Social Sciences. Well, the first place goes to Ms. Nur Aizat Izzati Abdul Rahim from the School of Humanities. Now, the winners for Science and Technology category. The third place will go to Ms. Farzana Athira Abdul Latif from the School of Industrial Technology. Second place goes to Ms. Noraihan Muhammad Shabani from Institute of Research Molecular Medicine. Well, the first place goes to Ms. Nurshida Harun, also from the Institute of Research of Molecular Medicine.
Okay, congratulations to all winners. Okay, we wish you all the best with your research. And to all audience, thank you for your participation. But before we end our event, I would like to remind all the audience to scan the QR code or click the Google link provided in the chat box for your attendance. Again, thank you everyone for your time. Hope to see everyone again next year. And please stay safe. And Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye semua.